It is the powerful symbol of deepening of ties as Prime Minister Modi touched down in Jeddah this afternoon, welcomed with unprecedented grandeur as Saudi Royal Air Force jets sliced through the sky in a rare state honor. This marks Prime Minister Modi's third visit to the kingdom, a journey of friendship, strategy and shared ambition. The warmth of the welcome was as strong as the partnership it celebrates, from receiving the king in 2001 to co-founding the Strategic Partnership Council in 2019. Modi's Saudi engagements have rewritten the rule book on diplomacy. From trade to technology and energy to expats, the stakes are massive. $43 billion is the trade, 2.7 million Indians in the kingdom. That's the diaspora that we have. The ties go far beyond statecraft. Prime Minister Modi will connect with the heart of the relationship, that is the Indian diaspora, a community event that will, of course, further bridge the connect between two ancient civilizations, cultures and two modern powers. As Prime Minister Modi steps into Jeddah's historic corridors, the world watches. It's not just diplomacy, it's much more than that. And let's get in my colleague Mohammad Ghazali, who's joining us live from Jeddah, covering this very important visit. As we get in Ghazali to tell us more about this, on your screens are the key points as far as why this visit is important from a diplomatic point of view, from an economic point of view, and of course from a people-to-people point of view. And before we get in Ghazali to get us more on this, I want to quickly now put across some important graphic points that are coming in, and I'm also going to welcome some of the guests joining me on the broadcast. We'll try and get Ghazali as and when we can, but let's also introduce the panelists who are joining me on the broadcast. First up is Bashir Ali Abbas, Middle East expert, Senior Research Associate from CSDR, and Viraj Solanki, who's joining us live from London, who's a research fellow from IISS. Let's quickly show them in the screens, and both of you gentlemen stay with me because I finally have Ghazali with me. Let's quickly now get in an update from Ghazali on what all we could expect from Jeddah.
So Gaurie, the Indian community members are waiting for the Prime Minister to come here and address them. A greet and meet meeting is scheduled here in the hotel where Prime Minister arrived here a couple of hours ago. And after this meeting with the Indian community members, the Indian Prime Minister will go to the Royal Palace where he will have the meeting with his counterpart and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who is the Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia. Now, a host of MoUs are expected to be signed and some announcements is expected to be made in the areas of defense sector, in energy sector, and some emerging areas are also there where both sides will explore avenues. As far as defense sector is concerned, Prime Minister spoke to the Arab media here yesterday, citing that how India is capable of manufacturing defense equipments and combat helicopters, drones, and Saudi Arabia is also looking for the same kind of engagement with India when it comes to defense sector. We also had joint naval exercises in the past. Prime Minister also spoke about that. Besides that, there is going to be a strategic partnership council meeting, which the Prime Minister also said in his departure statement. Now, that council meeting is probably a group of ministers who will sit from both sides, headed by Prime Minister Modi from Indian side and MDS from Saudi side. And they will review, because this is going to be the second strategic partnership council meeting. Also, focus will be on to review all the progress which has been made since 2016 when the Prime Minister visited Riyadh for the first time as Prime Minister. Then in 2019 he visited Riyadh. This is the first time he's visiting Jeddah.
Absolutely, Ghazali, I'm going to keep coming back to you. I'm going to keep coming back to you. Absolutely. I'm going to keep coming back to you because this is important. But at the moment, I want to quickly now get in my guests as well, Mr. Abbas as well as Mr. Solanki. Viraj, to you first. How do you read this, this visit, its importance, and what do you expect could be the primary takeaways from this visit?
Thank you for having me on the show, Gaurie. I think the main takeaway from this visit is that it signals the growing importance of the Gulf region to India's foreign policy, especially under Prime Minister Modi. Prime Minister Modi has really transformed India's relationship with the Gulf. It was primarily focused earlier on trade, on energy, and on the diaspora, and now it has moved to more a wider relationship focused on political relations, investment, and there's growing trust, which is leading to more defense and security cooperation. So I think this visit, the main takeaway will be a strengthening of the political relationship between Prime Minister Modi and his counterpart in Saudi Arabia, and then growing cooperation on trade, investment, and defense relations as well.
Okay, and Mr. Abbas, in terms of the primary focus, what do you think could be the primary focus of this visit? Because let's not forget the messaging that came in terms of the welcome for Prime Minister Modi also had a very important geopolitical message there, didn't it?
Yes, it certainly did, and thank you for having me here. I think it's a really pivotal moment, given that this is the Prime Minister's third visit. It's interesting because Middle Eastern countries have featured as one of as some of the highest visited destinations for our Prime Minister, with him traveling to the UAE at least 7 to 8 times, and now for the third time to Saudi Arabia. I think beyond the strength of the bilateral relationship, which really has picked up in the last 5 years, but even more specifically since there has been this new opening from Riyadh that we have seen since 2015, when the Saudi Vision 2030 project was unveiled. I think India has done really well to sort of leverage that new space available, because prior to this, as Viraj also mentioned, we were a little too focused on diaspora and energy, both of which are of priority to us. However, I think now, given both the space available in Saudi Arabia as well as our own inclination to be proactive, both states are now able to meet in the middle and really do something at the strategic level. I think one of the main regional priorities for both states is the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. Although there are a number of challenges vis-a-vis the corridor, but they do not pertain so much as to the India-Saudi Arabia relationship as they do to the Jordan-Israel relationship. So insofar as India and Saudi Arabia are concerned, I think the only thing to do and the right thing to do is to proceed at the bilateral level. This is the same strategy that we followed with the Emirates, and now we look to follow this with Saudi Arabia as well.
Okay, Viraj, the other thing I want to ask you is that when we talk about the trade aspect, the defense aspect, the geopolitical aspect, let's not forget that this is happening in the shadow of Trump tariffs, isn't it? The fact that there is a lot of trade uncertainty in the world, how much do you think would it aid for countries to explore more partnerships when it comes to trade, whether it's the India-Saudi Arabia trade relationship? Where do you see the upside going because of the global trade factors?
I think this relationship, primarily, and India's wider relationship in the Gulf region, just highlights how India is seeking to diversify in terms of its trade and investment partners, especially following the tariffs that have been imposed in the US earlier this year. But this is a growing trend, I think, in India in seeking to really strengthen its bilateral relationships, focused on gaining more investment from Gulf countries into India to increase its economic growth. So we've seen Saudi Arabia has promised to invest $100 billion into India. There have been some challenges within this, and there's been delays in actually implementing these investment commitments. But it really signals a growing intent for India to diversify its geo-economic partners, and one where India can seek to really leverage the different elements and benefits that it can gain from engaging with Saudi Arabia, with the United Arab Emirates, and other Gulf partners, as well as others globally, as it seeks to enhance its economic growth and achieve a 6.5% growth rate over the coming year.
Absolutely. And Viraj, very quickly, I'm running out of time, which is that as far as the geopolitical realignment is concerned, a lot of relationships for India in the Gulf, whether it is the Saudi Arabia in particular, have been impacted due to concerns or due to factors in the neighborhood. And that seems to have pretty much ended, haven't they?
Yes, there has been challenges. This has, from the current conflicts in the Middle East, which have impacted initiatives that India has sought to engage in within the Middle East. But this is now, there are ways that India is seeking around this. It's seeking to progress on corridors such as the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. And I think now is a chance for India to really strengthen its political relationship with the Gulf region and really seek to strengthen the defense relationship, as was mentioned earlier, as well as trying to attract a wide range of investment, not just from Saudi Arabia, but from other Gulf countries as well. But the key on all of these aspects is delivery, and we need to see that in the coming months.
All right, Viraj and Bashir, thanks so much for joining me on this story. And I'm going to revisit this tomorrow, given the fact that this is going to be extremely important over the next 2 days.